morning to all the NEET aspirants. This is your Prasanna Ma'am from NEET World. So yes, in our 100 concept session, now based on the requirement of many students, I have started the core botany concepts, wherein I would like to start it with living world beta. So till yesterday we have completed till plant physiology. Plant physiology, photosynthesis in higher plants is done. Once I'll complete this core botany concepts, then I'll be starting the respiration in plants again. So when it comes to living world, in this living world chapter, what we have to look into, what are the major components that we have to look into the living world chapter, and what is the expectation for the number of questions that arises from this chapter. Hardly we can expect 1 to 2 questions in our final NEET examination from this living world chapter or diversity of living world. So in this, initially we have to focus on the characteristic and defining features of living. Okay, we have to focus on characteristic and defining features of living, and then we have to look into the diversity of life forms, and then binomial nomenclature given by Linnaeus, binomial nomenclature, taxonomy and systematics, and then we have to look into all the 7 obligate categories of taxonomy or 7 taxons. Okay, lastly we have to go through 7 obligate categories. Fine beta. So what are all the concepts that we have to complete or cover from the living world? Initially we have to look into the characteristic and defining features of the living, then diversity of life forms, binomial nomenclature, taxonomy, systematics, and then 7 obligate categories or 7 taxonomic groups we have to look into. First, let us look into the characteristics of living. What are the characteristic features and what are the defining features of the living? We have 3 characteristic features of the living where we have to look into beta. First we will look into the characteristic features of the living. Characteristic features and defining features. Fine. So first, if we have to see characteristic features of living, we have growth, reproduction and metabolism. Okay, growth, reproduction and metabolism. These are the characteristic features of living. What are the defining features of living? We have 2 defining features of living. First is cellular organization, then it will be consciousness. These 2 are the defining features. So we may expect the questions from characteristic features and defining features of the living. First, let us understand growth. Okay, growth is defined as increase in the cell number or increase in the mass. Growth is nothing but increase in cell number and increase in the mass. Increase in cell number and increase in the mass are twin characteristics of growth. As such, growth can be of 2 types beta. Growth can be of 2 types. We can say extrinsic growth and intrinsic growth. Growth is of 2 types, extrinsic growth and intrinsic growth. Fine. Extrinsic growth, if you see, increase in the cell mass, okay, increase in the body or increase in the mass is defined as extrinsic growth, and extrinsic growth is seen in the non-living components. This growth is reversible, okay. So, extrinsic growth is reversible, it is reversible, extrinsic growth is reversible, it is seen in non-living things where only increase in mass is observed, increase in mass. So, what is growth beta? Increase in cell number and increase in body mass are the twin characteristics of growth. We have two types of growth, increase in cell number and two types of growth, those are extrinsic growth and intrinsic growth. Extrinsic growth is reversible, occurs in non-living things, and it majorly is about increase in mass. Mostly it is occur like pile or huge mountain growth, that is what extrinsic growth. Intrinsic growth, if we have to see, Kashvi, this will take just half an hour to 40 minutes beta, complete chapter will be dealt, okay. So, listen this carefully. Next, intrinsic growth, if you see, intrinsic growth is of two types again, mutually inclusive and mutually exclusive growth, okay. So, intrinsic growth occurs in the living body, intrinsic growth occurs in the living body, and this growth is irreversible. Here we can see both increase in cell number and increase in mass. So, intrinsic growth is irreversible wherein this occurs in living bodies, and here you can observe two things, increase in cell number and increase in mass, increase in cell mass. Fine, ma'am. So, we have two types, that is extrinsic and intrinsic. Intrinsic we can again say it is of two types based on the organism in which growth is happening. Intrinsic is of two types, it is based on the unicellular and multicellular organisms, okay. It is based on unicellular and multicellular organisms, okay. In unicellular organisms, increase in cell number is considered as growth, okay. Increase in cell number, okay, increase in cell number is considered as growth. So, as the cell number is increasing, growth is happening, simultaneously reproduction is also happening. So, growth and reproduction are mutually inclusive in the unicellular organisms. So, here growth is synonymous to reproduction in unicellular organisms, remember that beta. Growth is synonymous to reproduction. Next, in multicellular organisms, you take be it in plants or animals, growth and reproduction are mutually exclusive. Here they are exclusive. Fine, because living organisms after certain growth happens till juvenile stage, then they enter to puberty and they will enter into the reproductive phase, okay, unlike the unicellular organisms. So, is this clear about the growth beta? We have two types of growth. Growth is defined as what? Increase in cell number and increase in mass are the twin characteristics of growth. We have two types of growth, extrinsic and intrinsic. Extrinsic growth reversible, non-living, it happens in non-living components, and increase in mass is only observed. Intrinsic growth is irreversible, occurs in living bodies, increase in cell number and increase in mass both are seen. Intrinsic form of growth, if it is in unicellular organisms, increase in cell number happens, and here in unicellular organisms, growth and reproduction are synonymous, they are mutually inclusive. Remember that point, it is important. In multicellular organisms, it is exclusive, growth and reproduction are exclusive. Clear, right? So, this is all about growth. Why growth is a characteristic feature? Because it occurs in non-living components also, this is considered as a characteristic feature. Next is about reproduction. Reproduction occurs in all the organisms, then why reproduction is the characteristic feature? Sterile organisms also live, okay, sterile organisms, for example, mule. okay, mule which is the offspring of donkey and horse, okay, the mule which are sterile, or some sterile honeybees, sterile human couple, all are living. So, reproduction we cannot say that as what? Defining feature of living. Reproduction will be characteristic feature of living. So, reproduction we all know it, we have the 3 types of reproduction here: vegetative, asexual and sexual. Vegetative, asexual and sexual reproduction. What is here important with respect to our NEET is, we may expect statement based questions connecting growth and reproduction, and we may expect from different modes of asexual reproduction which is given in our NCERT, wherein asexual spores, this is the only mode of asexual reproduction for fungi, and yeast and hydra reproduce by what? Asexual mode of reproduction, that is budding. Planaria or flatworms by regeneration. Fungi, filamentous algae, protonema of mosses. Protonema of mosses, what are they? Protonema, which is the primary gametophytic structure. Gametophytic structure of the mosses. This reproduces through what? Fragmentation. So, here we have asexual spores, budding, regeneration and fragmentation. Fungi by asexual spores, yeast and hydra by budding, planaria or flatworms reproduce through regeneration, fungi, filamentous algae or protonema of mosses is through fragmentation. Here you see here you see this is what? Hydra. This image is the example of what? Hydra conducting budding. Fine. And this is the clear image of, fungi releasing the asexual spores. Fungi through asexual spores. Asexual spores. And this is the image which clearly shows you the regeneration in planaria. Regeneration in planaria. Fine. So, here the regeneration is happening in planaria. What is the major difference between fragmentation and regeneration? Fragmentation, wherein the parent body, when it gets fragmented, that develops into a new individual. Regeneration, any part of the body, if it is getting fragmented, that completely regenerates the living organism, okay, or the living organism also, if some fragment is lost, that new part is regenerated. That is the major difference between fragmentation and regeneration. Clear till here, ma? So, we have clearly understood growth and reproduction, why they are the characteristic features. Now, third is metabolism. Hi all, continue with the class. Metabolism. This class is scheduled in English, ma. Any doubt you have, you just ask me, okay? So, here metabolism. Metabolism is nothing but the sum total of chemical reactions that happen in a living system is called as metabolism. It is a combination of anabolism and catabolism. This is a combination of anabolism and catabolism. Catabolism. Fine, ma. So, this is a combination of anabolism and catabolism. Anabolism is nothing but simpler molecules piling up or synthesizing the complex organic molecules. Best example for anabolism will be our photosynthesis. Catabolism, the complex molecule break down into the simpler ones, releasing out the energy. Best example will be the respiration. So, all these sum of chemical reactions happening inside a living body is called as what? Metabolism. The chemical reactions which are happening outside the living body, inside in labs or in vitro, those are called as what? Living reactions. Okay. So, these are what? Living reaction. Living reactions. Fine. The chemical reactions which are happening outside the living body, inside in vitro labs, those are what? Living reactions. So, till here we sum up the characteristic features of the living. Those are growth, reproduction and metabolism. Till here it is fine, no? Any doubt anywhere, ma? Yes. Cellular organization. Cellular organization is the defining feature of the living. What is this cellular organization? Cellular organization is nothing but an organism is formed by the underlying reactions of the tissues. How tissues are formed? How can you define tissues? Tissues are formed because of the interactions of the cells, and cells are because of the underlying reactions of cellular organelles, and cellular organelles will have the interactions of what? Molecular components. This is cellular organization. Cellular organization is the defining feature of the living. It is the defining feature of living. Why is it defining feature? Because all cells, tissues, they are formed by group of underlying reactions, chemical reactions. We can expect what type of question from here is assertion reason based or statement based question. Once again I will tell you, listen ma, how tissues are formed, how can you define tissues? Tissues are formed because of the interactions, underlying interactions of cells. How about cells? By interactions of cellular organelles. How about cellular organelles? By the interactions of the cellular constituents or molecular components inside them. Molecular components. Fine. Understood about cellular organization? Cellular organization is present in unicellular organisms, in multicellular organisms also. In multicellular organisms though, you can see complete compartmentalization of cytoplasm inside the cells. Okay, so cellular organization is present in each and every living cell. It is not present in the non-living components. So cellular organization is considered as what? Defining feature. Clear, right? Next question. Consciousness. Okay. Consciousness, if you see, consciousness is also considered as the defining feature of the living. How consciousness is considered as defining feature of living? How can you define the consciousness? Consciousness can be defined as the response to external stimuli. Okay. Consciousness can be defined as the response to external stimuli. Response to external stimuli. Fine. So, based on the response to external stimuli, photoperiodism is defined and seasonal breeding of the animals is decided. So, that is what? Consciousness. We can also correlate this with what? Irritability. Okay, response to external stimuli, this is also called as irritability. Fine. So, photoperiodism in plants, photoperiodism in plants and photoperiodism in plants and what? Seasonal breeding in animals is decided by what? Consciousness. Okay, so consciousness is a defining feature of living, and how can you define consciousness? Response to the external stimuli, which is irritability. Okay, best examples in plants and animals, photoperiodism and seasonal breeding. Clear, right? Next, self-consciousness, which is only present in human beings. Self-consciousness. Self-consciousness is only the feature which is for human beings. Human beings are self-conscious. Okay, but it depends on their behavior on how they are self-conscious or not, but self-conscious is said that is only applicable to what? Human beings. Consciousness is for all living organisms. So, remember this. Completing with the characteristic and defining features beta. Characteristic features: growth, reproduction and metabolism. Defining features: cellular organization and consciousness. Simple, right? Easy. Next, diversity in living world. Okay, so it is noted or documented that the number of species that are known and described ranges are in between 1.7 to 1.8 million species are described, and here 1.2 million animals are present. Of them, insect forms the largest group. 0.5 million plants, angiosperms forms the largest group over here, and 15,000 new species will be discovered every year. Maximum biodiversity is found in tropical rainforests and coral reefs. These points connecting to the ecology, these are very important, ma'am. Okay. Fine, we may expect a questionnaire over here. This is important, connecting to ecology. All the range or the range of number like 1.2 million animals, of which insect is the largest group, 0.5 million plants, of which angiosperms are the largest group. These points are important. And how many? The described ranges are over number of species. It is of 1.7 to 1.8. Clear till here, right? Now, we will discuss about binomial nomenclature. Binomial nomenclature, which is given by Carolus Linnaeus. Okay, binomial nomenclature which is given by Carolus Linnaeus. Fine. Carolus Linnaeus has named the organisms by giving it two names, that is, first generic name and specific epithet. Okay, so each organism, each living organism will have genus and species, that is generic name and specific epithet. That is binomial nomenclature which is given by Carolus Linnaeus. Clear, ma? Binomial nomenclature is derived from Latin. Remember, it is derived from Latin, and genus always starts with capital letter, species always starts with small letter. When written, they should be underlined separately. When printed, they have to be printed in italics. These are few important points with respect to binomial nomenclature. Next, when it comes to taxonomy. What is taxonomy? First, what is classification? What is classification? And what is taxonomy? What is the difference between taxonomy and classification? Classification is nothing but grouping the organisms into the convenient categories based on easily observable characters. Okay, classification is nothing but what, ma? Grouping of organisms based on their easily observable morphological characters into some convenient categories is called as classification. And putting those organisms into different taxa is called as taxonomy. And there are four components that are present in taxonomy. First will be characterization. First is characterization. Second, identification. Third is classification. And fourth is nomenclature. Okay. So, characterization, identification, classification and nomenclature. These are four components of taxonomy, and in taxonomy we have 7 obligate categories, and we have 2 types of taxonomy. We call it as classical taxonomy and modern taxonomy. Okay, classical taxonomy and modern taxonomy. Modern taxonomy. Modern taxonomy is also called as neo-systematics. This is also called as neo-systematics. Fine, ma. So, here if you see classical taxonomy. Classical taxonomy is nothing but grouping or placing the organisms into different taxas or categories or ranks based on just observable morphological features. That is called as what? Classical taxonomy. Here what we are considering? Only gross morphological features. Only gross morphological features. Morphological features. Next, modern taxonomy or neo-systematics. Modern taxonomy or neo-systematics, wherein along with the external morphological features, internal characters or internal structures are also considered in placing the organisms into different taxa. Here what we are considering, beta? Here we are considering external and internal structures also. Internal structures. Okay, like cell structure, embryology, and development. Fine. So, how do you define taxonomy and classification? Classification is nothing but grouping the organisms into convenient categories based on the observable characters, observable morphological characters. Taxonomy is nothing but placing the organisms into different taxa, where we have 7 obligate taxas or groups or ranks, placing them into different taxas by either considering gross morphological features, only external features, then we are calling it as what? Classical taxonomy. If we are considering both external and internal structures like cell structure, embryology, development, if we are considering all this, then this is called as modern taxonomy or neo-systematics. Clear, right? Next. So, based on the nomenclature that we have learned from binomial nomenclature of Carolus Linnaeus, we have many organizations which define or which gives the names of many organisms. For example, ICBN, all these codes of the nomenclature are very much important. ICBN, which is International Code of Botanical Nomenclature, this shows the naming or this gives the naming for all the plants, okay, all the plants. What are included under the plant kingdom? The divisions which are like Thallophyta, algae, Bryophyta, Pteridophyta, Gymnosperms, Angiosperms, all the plant species placed in those divisions are named by what? International Code of Botanical Nomenclature. Under these norms only they are named. Next, ICZN, International Code of Zoological Nomenclature, ICVN, International Code of Viral Nomenclature. Next, ICNCP, that is International Code of Nomenclature for Cultivated Plants. Next, ICNB, International Code of Nomenclature of Botany, of Bacteria, International Code of Nomenclature of Bacteria. All the bacterial species or strains are named under the norms of ICNB. All these codes of nomenclature should be in your mind, okay. Now, when we have to speak about systematics, taxonomy is derived from Greek, beta. Taxonomy is derived from Greek. Taxonomy is derived from Greek, whereas systematics is derived from Latin. Okay, systematics is derived from Latin. How can you define systematics? Systematics is nothing but taxonomy along with evolutionary relationships considered. Evolutionary relationships considered, called as systematics. Taxonomy includes 4 components, as I told you. Remember this in this order only. Okay, you can remember like CICN. Okay, characterization, identification, classification, and nomenclature. So, here if you see beta, first you will characterize the organism, okay, what type of organism it is, you will characterize it, then you will identify it, then you will classify it into some group, and then you will name it, okay. After nomenclature, if you are also considering the evolutionary relationships, then it is said to be what? Systematics. It is derived from what? Latin. Till here it is clear, right? Next, taxonomic categories. Taxonomic categories are also called as taxonomic rank or taxon. As such, we have 7 obligate categories. 7 obligate categories. Okay. What are those 7 obligate categories? We will go from the basic unit or basic taxon to the advanced taxon. Those 7 obligate categories include species, then genus, and then family, then order, and then species, genus, family, order, class, division or phylum, and kingdom. Fine, ma. So, what are species? How did you group different organisms into the basic unit of taxonomy? What is the basic unit of taxonomy category here? Species. Okay, those organisms which have morphological similarities. Okay, those organisms which have basic morphological similarities, those are placed in the species. Okay, all the morphological similarities are those organisms which are morphologically similar, they are placed in species. Then genus, group of different species or group of related species which are little morphologically different, okay, they are placed in genus. Then related genera with similar vegetative characters and floral characters. If it is in plants, similar genera with same vegetative and floral characters are placed in family. Okay, and group of related families which have same floral characters are placed in order. In order, group of related families which have same floral characters are placed in the order. Then group of related orders in class. Then if it is plant kingdom, then we will call it as division. If it is animal kingdom, then it is called as family, phylum. Okay, and then last, the highest taxon here is what? Kingdom. Kingdom is the highest taxon. This is about 7 obligate categories. Here, how can we expect the questions? Okay, the specificity is high at the basic unit of taxon. Here we have high specificity. Okay, as you increase the taxonomic category, specificity decreases. Specificity decreases as you increase the taxonomic category, and the common characters that share between the organisms also decreases. There will be decrease in common characters shared between organisms. Clear, right? So, here taxonomic categories or taxonomic ranks or taxon is one and the same. As such, we have how many? 7 obligate categories. Okay, we have 7 obligate categories. What are they? From basic to the advanced, we have species, genus, family, order, class, division or phylum, and kingdom. Species, which is the basic unit of taxon, here the organisms will be having high specificity. Okay, they are high specific. Then group of related species with some morphological differences, they come under what? Similar genus. And group of related genera with same vegetative and floral characters are kept under family. Group of related families which have same floral characters are kept under the order, and then you have class, division or phylum, and lastly kingdom. Here what you have to remember, beta, increase in specificity, highly specific organisms are there in species, and specificity decreases at the kingdom level, and as you increase the taxon, there is decrease in the common characters which are shared amongst different organisms. Clear till here, right? Now, the major questionnaire will arise from this chart. This chart you have to keep it in your mind, okay? Fix it, okay? Whichever is there in our NCERT in 2 pages, I have compiled it in just one flow chart. Look at this properly. So here we have species to kingdom beta. So this is species, genus, family, order, division. I have drawn out two charts, one for animal and one for plant kingdom. So here we can, as this is for plant kingdom, we can keep it here division, okay, and this is kingdom, okay, fine. Class, here it is order, division and kingdom. Now carefully see beta. Yeah. So here you look into first, these are group of related species. What are they? Nigrum, tuberosum and melongena. These are different species which are of same genus, like Solanum nigrum, Solanum tuberosum and Solanum melongena. Okay. So these are three different species belonging to one genus, that is Solanum. Clear, right? And here you see Indica, Mangifera indica. This species belongs to Mangifera. Triticum aestivum. Aestivum is the species, belongs to the genera Triticum. As such, we have two species for alum also, Alum cepa and Alum sativum. These two belongs to what? Alum. So yes, these are different species belonging to this genera. Melongena, tuberosum and nigrum for Solanum, Indica, Mangifera, Triticum aestivum, Allium cepa or Allium sativum. Till here it is clear, right? Now when it comes to genera, okay, Solanum, Datura and Petunia are group of related genera which has similar, they have similar floral and vegetative characters. So they are placed under the family Solanaceae. Can you see here, ma? Petunia, Datura and Solanum belongs to the family Solanaceae. Mangifera belongs to Anacardiaceae. And Triticum aestivum belongs to what? Poaceae. Allium cepa, Allium sativum belongs to Liliaceae. So how these genera are placed in this family? Because they have similar vegetative and floral characters. From this families, whichever are having similar floral characters are placed in the class, are placed in this order. Okay, they are placed in this order. Okay, as such, Solanaceae and Convolvulaceae are placed in what? Polymoniales. Okay, polymoniales will have Solanaceae and Convolvulaceae. Okay, next, Anacardiaceae are having what? Sapindales. Okay, Anacardiaceae family belongs to the order Sapindales. Poaceae belongs to the order Poales. Next, Liliaceae belongs to the order Liliales. Remember that. Next, here we have the class. We have two classes, right? Monocot and dicot. Under monocots, Liliales and Poales are included. Under dicots, we have Sapindales and Polymoniales. Next, angiosperm division includes monocots and dicots, belongs to the kingdom Plantae. Kingdom Plantae will have 5 divisions. Of them, one division is what? Angiosperms. Till here it is clear, ma? What are important characters? Preeti, about what important characters you are asking, Vita? Yeah. You just specify that, I will repeat, okay. Now, so till here it is clear, right? 7 obligate categories. 7 obligate categories in plant, like from species to kingdom. If you want, you can take a screenshot of this. This is a gist or a compilation of your 2 pages of your NCERT. And these examples are very much important. If you can look into that just for 3 to 4 minutes each day, then this will be fixed in your mind. Okay. Next, this is about animals. In Animalia kingdom, we again have what? Species, genus, family, class, order, class and phylum. This is division. Fine ma. So, here if you see, Musca domestica belongs to the class Insecta. Okay. So, domestica is the species, Musca genus, and here Homo sapiens, Panthera pardus, Tigris, Leo. So, these are 3 different species belongs to one genus only, that is Panthera. Next, here we have Canis aureus, Lupus familiaris. 3 species belongs to one genus, that is Canis only. Genus if you see, we have Musca, Homo, Panthera and Canis. These are different genus, and Musca domestica belongs to Muscidae family, Homo sapiens to Hominidae. Look at the suffixes properly, Vita. Here Panthera, Leo, Tigris and Pardus belongs to the family Felidae, and Canis familiaris, Lupus and Aureus belongs to the family Canidae. Okay. Next, these 2 families Canidae and Felidae belongs to what? Carnivora. Hominidae belongs to what? Primata order. Muscidae belongs to what? Diptera. Okay. And here Carnivora and Primata belongs to the class Mammalia. Diptera order belongs to the class Insecta. Then this classes belongs to what? Phylum. The Mammalia belongs to Chordata phylum and Insecta belongs to what? Arthropoda. They belong to the division Animalia. Clear, right? If you want, you can take a screenshot of this. We can expect direct questions from here. Okay. I'd like to tell you about suffixes over here, ma. See here, family ends with the suffix AC in plants and ide in animals. Tribe. Tribe is the category or the rank which is in between family and order. Okay. Tribe is in between family and order. Next, order ends with what? Ales. Class will end with the suffix phyaceae or opsida. Next, division will have the suffix what? Phyta. Look at the suffixes properly. Next, if you see, yeah, last we will look into the our NCERT table, which is very important. Many at times we got questions from this table directly. Okay, and taxonomic aids will not be discussing because it is not there in our NEET official syllabus. Okay, so taxonomic aids I will be discussing in the MCERT class beta. Here we will not be discussing. So look at here properly. Here we got the common name and the biological name. Man, Homo sapiens, housefly as Musca domestica, mango, Mangifera indica, wheat, Triticum aestivum. And here the genus for Homo sapiens, Homo, Musca domestica. Musca is the genus, Mangifera and Triticum. Belongs to the family Hominidae, and this to Muscidae and Anacardiaceae, Poaceae. These are the families. They belong to the order Primata, Diptera, Sapindales and Poales. This belongs to the class Mammalia, Insecta, Dicotyledons and Monocotyledons. These are the classes of Angiosperm phylum, and Mammalia belongs to Chordata, Insect to Arthropoda. Note down this table. This is very important. So here we are completing this chapter Living World, wherein initially we started with the discussion of characteristic and defining features, and then we have looked into the diversity of life forms, taxonomy, classification, binomial nomenclature, systematics, and then about 7 obligate categories by completely dealing up with the examples of the Animalia and Plantae kingdom. Clear till here, right ma? So in our next class we will be starting up with biological classification. Thank you.